Welcome to my first results mastery podcast after Christmas. It's now I think it's the 29th, 29th of December. And I wanted to send you a quick, or produce a quick podcast in order to talk to you about next year. Next year is going to be tough. Let's face it, we all know, you don't need me to tell you about the worldwide financial situation and recessions and so on and so forth. But I want you to just take a moment to think about, firstly, what the word recession means. It actually means a period of 2 quarters where the national gross domestic product of a country has reduced. So I think I heard the other day, if I could be wrong here, I could be slightly out, but in the last quarter, the reason we're into or going into recession is that the GDP of the UK went down by 0.2%. 0.2%, that's only a little bit. Now I appreciate, it's still a factor, but that doesn't mean that your small business has got to go down. And even if it only went down by the same as the national statistic, it's probably not going to be the end of the world. And yet we hear on the media all the time about, how awful it's going to be and how everybody should stop spending and stop everything because, the world's coming to a close. And I'm here to tell you that's not necessarily the case, and it certainly doesn't have to be the case for you. But that's subject to a couple of things. When times get tough, we need to get better. What the good thing about, the tough times that we're going to be going through, it's going to weed out the weak. It's almost like the winter, when we get bad weather. I know it sounds awful, but in the animal kingdom, the weak and the injured get killed off. And so we emerge from the winter with a stronger population, if you like, of animals and birds and so on and so forth, and of businesses. Now, I know that sounds awful and I know it sounds terrible, and I, spend my life and have been dedicated the last 27 years to helping businesses to not go bust and not, cease trading and so on. And so, this hurts me. I don't like to hear of people who've put their life and soul and, sometimes gambled their house and their security and have put all their money into running a business only to find that it doesn't work and it ends up costing them their marriage, their family, their fortune, and so on and so forth. So, I'm here and I'm around and I've been doing this for 27 years, and this being helping you to grow. Now, right now, we're coming, as I said, to the end of the year. So I want you to think about what are you going to be doing going forward in order to, really, really move your business forward. Because if, you've got a couple of choices right now. You could sit back and hope that it will be okay. But, for me, hope is hopeless. Just hoping that you're going to survive probably ain't going to make you survive. You might be able to do that, but it's not because you're hoping that you do. You could and should cut back. We need to cut back on things that we don't need, the expenses that we don't really, that are not essential. But what people do, and it just mystifies me, this, on one hand you'd say, oh yeah, he would say that because he's a marketer. But that's not the case. That is not why I'm saying it. Let's just look at the logical approach. Times are going to get tough, and it's going to be harder to create sales and leads. That's a fact. That's not, my opinion. That is a fact. It's going to get harder to create sales and leads. So what is most businesses' strategy for that, to cope with that? What it is cutting back on marketing. And it's bonkers. It's crackers. It's ludicrous. Why would you, if it's tough, if it's difficult, why would you cut back on it so that you don't get as many sales and that you do go bust? You know, I don't know. For me, it just makes no sense whatsoever. What you should be doing is improving your marketing skills, improving your sales skills, putting more time and effort into sales and marketing, spending, taking some of that money that you're spending on things that aren't helping you to survive and thrive and putting them into marketing. Does that not make sense? Am I not speaking logically here to you? Because if you're going to cut back, if you're going to reduce your marketing and sales effort, then what is going to reduce? The number of sales that you get. That just makes obvious sense to me. So, I don't want you to do that. I want you to keep going. And that's my message here. So step one, this is the first thing you need to do, in my opinion, right now. And that is set some targets for next year. Because if you don't, you'll just get, into, things will start next year and they'll carry on basically the same way as they did last year. And because we are going through tough times, what will happen is your business will decrease. That's an almost fact unless you do something about it. Excuse me. Oh, this passion's getting to me here. Unless you do something about it, you're not really going to get anywhere. So we got to do something. So step one is to, set some goals. Without goals, everybody perishes. Without a mission, without an aim, without, some long-term goals, what are you going to try and achieve in the year? What are you going to also try and achieve in the quarter or the month or the week or even the day? What is your goal for whatever day it is you're starting? Let's say it's the 3rd of January. You should have a goal for that day. I'm going to try and create 3 new sales that day. That could be a good goal for the 3rd of January. Might be a difficult one because, a lot of people won't be back at work by then. But if you are, you've already got ahead of the competition. So step 2 then is to form a plan to get you what you want. It's that old adage, isn't it? Know where you are, know where you want to go, and then produce a plan to get you from A to B. And, whilst it's old and whilst it's, arguably a little bit, I've heard that before. What you've not done probably is implemented it effectively. It is the way of getting anywhere in sport, in business, in relationships, in your weight or your fitness, in your marketing. How good are you at marketing your business? How many leads did you create in 2022? Or perhaps in, December or November? How many did you create? And how many do you need to create to get you what you want? If my goal is to... I'm going to use an example of a really small business here. Let's say I'm only turning over, 30, 40 grand. And my goal is, I'll use 50 grand and make it easier. I'm turning over 50 grand and I'm creating, 5 leads per month in order to do that. And I'm converting half of those into sales. Then if I wanted to double my business and get to 100 grand, then what would I need to do? Well, I'd need to either improve my conversion rate and go from, wherever I am right now to twice as good, or I'd need to get twice as many leads. And often the easiest way is to get twice as many leads. But you should be working on both. It's not just about lead generation. We also need to improve our lead conversion because that's really, really important. So all that said, take action, really. That's what the purpose of this podcast is all about. It's the Results Mastery podcast. And I've given you really a simple structure here to help you to go from where you are right now to where you want to be. So let's see you taking action. If you need any help from me, feel free to get in touch. Best way to do that is to go to my website, which is steve-mills.com. There you can do probably one or two things. You can either book onto a webinar that I run every Thursday, or you can just book a one-to-one meeting with me and we can have a conversation about you, your business, your marketing, your sales, and I'll do my best during that meeting to see if I can help you in any way. So that's about it. Thank you very much for listening, and may I wish you a very, very happy and incredibly successful 2023. Thank you.